got me working, and we're putting in every day. You got me working.
And of course, we have on the line Helene Davis Whyte, right? Head of the Trade Union Confederation. I got it right, Mrs. Whyte?
Yes, you did.
Well, listen, Minister, I'm going to call you Honorable for now.
No, please.
You Honorable, I don't understand. You Honorable somebody. How long you out there fight for workers, and we know that you are standing on the shoulders of those who have gone before. Yes.
For sure.
And the reason I invited you, I have a thing for the trade union, and I don't know why. But I believe the voice of the workers must be heard, and so long as I'm around, I'm going to do what I need to do to have your voices being heard. Now, and I've been talking to you for a number of years, the concern that I have is with Labor Day. I have no problem with putting work into Labor Day, none whatsoever. I have no problem with having a stage show on Labor Day, which is what we know have big stage show and so on. The concern that I have, we have other days that are dedicated for specific things. Labor Day is a day to celebrate the achievement of the workers. I believe it's a day when we should look at the trade unions and what they've done. If you talk to many young persons, they wouldn't even know that is out of the trade union movement and the struggles of our workers that we now have a political system. And I felt it would be a good idea to have you here, not as old as some persons, but a little bit of the history of the trade union movement.
You would be surprised because I was around in high school in 1972, 73 when then Prime Minister Michael Manley asked us to put work into Labor Day. So
okay,
I've been around for quite a while.
But you were not around when persons like Aggie Bernard and St. William Grant and those persons were fighting, and many of them have died, poor persons. And out of that we had Bustamante and with the BI. But before that you had trade unions, I understand. Because if Marcus Garvey...
the Printers Union.
The Printers Union. Mm-hmm.
Marcus Garvey was affiliated before he left Jamaica for foreign shores. And you also had, even before the formation of the current Teachers Association, you had a forerunner to the Teachers Association, even before that as well.
And persons don't understand that, although it's a union. The JT is a union.
It exists for the purpose of, other than professional, it being an organization that is involved in ensuring that professionalism of teachers is focused on. The truth is that it also is involved in negotiations for better pay and conditions of service for teachers, and in that context, would be if not a registered trade union, certainly a workers' association,
right.
And the Confederation of Trade Unions actually brings together not just registered trade unions but other workers' associations which may not be registered trade unions.
Mm-hmm. No, and I said before, I want you to help us now to get persons to understand the importance of the union, because I remember, even for the musicians, I remember Mr. Sonny Bradshaw saying to me that when musicians went to, for example, the hotels, they had to walk through the back. They couldn't go through the front door at all. And many of us are enjoying certain privileges. The latest group to start to enjoy certain privileges is our security guards. But when we get certain benefits, and all you too, and what you're five then in course you have to say that defend when you look after yourself. But we need to appreciate what has been achieved, and don't forget, we must never forget where we are coming from, because if you forget where we are coming from, you're going to end up going back to where we are coming from.
It's important, and that's one of the reasons why the Confederation of Trade Unions and the forerunner to the Confederation, the Joint Trade Unions Research Development Center, we campaigned for several years for trade unionism to be part of the CXC syllabus, and it now is, because we felt that we needed to have this information passed on and in an official kind of way to the students once they are in the formal education system. And so, we now have that where trade unionism is actually on the curriculum, the history curriculum for CXC.
But don't feel too comfortable, ma'am. Not everybody, all students don't do history at all. So it is only those who do history.
Yes, but I think it was an important starting point for us because, if you have it in the curriculum, it means that it is something that is constantly addressed.
I know principals of business too, they do a little bit of it too.
Yeah. So what would have been done over the years is that the trade union movement would seek to celebrate, the activities and the achievements of the movement of workers over the years on Labor Day. And what a lot of persons are not aware of is that Labor Day for Jamaica is not celebrated on the 1st of May, like it is in most other countries of the world.
Was it Queen Victoria Day or something like that before? I'm trying to remember.
It was they converted another colonial holiday.
Right.
It was in fact important to do that because it also marked the anniversary of the labor uprisings and Black Friday, as it was called then. Coming out of those labor uprisings of 1938.
Right.
And so there are a lot of young people in Jamaica who, enjoy many freedoms and they really are not aware of how they actually take for granted these freedoms.
Black people couldn't work in the bank.
No, because you're talking about the bank. I remember when I used to, going to and from prep school, and we would go down the King Street. Most of the persons who were the clerks in those stores were virtual white persons. A black person couldn't work in those stores.
Yes, ma'am.
As is now the case, and we take a lot of that for granted, not recognizing, the sacrifices that were made.
Let me tell you more. Even for commercials, you use your, we're called high-collar people. So like me, I think high-collar Vernon, but I probably have a chance. We laugh there, but look where we're coming from. It did bad.
And you see, sometimes because we don't know where we're coming from, we end up going back there without actually realizing what is happening. And when we look at now what is happening with the beaches and the lack of access that quote-unquote ordinary Jamaicans are having to beaches now.
Listen, ma'am.
Because of this.
I have a headache this morning. I know you're going to give me 10, 40 times the headache of me have. Jesus. No, you explain. I know. Explain that one to me, ma'am.
Most. I think it was in the 70s again.
Yes.
Where the Beach Control Act was changed to allow access of quote-unquote ordinary Jamaicans to the beaches. Before that, the beaches basically belonged to the properties on the sea coast.
But we're going back to that now, ma'am.
But this is the point that I'm making, and a lot of
you remember Doctor's Cave Beach,
really
ma'am?
Don't understand that is what is happening, and so that kind of movement to try. So once I saw something being done, being developed for us to sign, I had to sign that because it is unthinkable for me for us to be going back to that kind of situation. And a lot of that happens because if you don't recognize how you came to it, you won't actually be protective of it. And I think that is part of the problem we have. So even for our workers in Jamaica, we know we have maternity leave. We know we have the right to join the union of choice.
I'm not too sure about that one, though, ma'am. I'm not sure about the right. I'm not too sure about the right to join the union of your choice because the security guard, them have to watch it.
No, but I would tell you, that every group of workers who is seeking to organize, you have to have that ability because most employers don't really want unions in their workplaces. And so you have to have that ability to want to organize, to remain organized. There are laws that protect you in the event that the employer seeks to move against you and so on. But some of the times people are very fearful. And because they are fearful, these things continue to happen.
But why,
But
tell
the
me,
truth
why
is
would
that
a
the law
modern...
allows it for them to be unionized.
But why would somebody who has studied at the University of the West Indies, black people lecture up there now, poor people get promoted now, poor people get promoted in the private sector now, why would they not understand the importance of having a union at the workplace? Is that such a wicked people, them or what, the unions?
Well, I think, we are, between labor and management, we have conflicting desires and goals. And, it is because of the fact that we have conflicting desires and goals why you have to have some method of being able to resolve those conflicts and differences. And that is how, the Industrial Relations, the Labor Relations Act
came about, yes.
And
that's a big piece of
as
legislation we need to
Yes.
recognize that one.
Yes, so we do have the what happened with the security guards though is that the companies decided that they were not going to make them workers, so they who would be eligible for unionization. So they then came with this thing that they are actual contractors. And for years the unions fought against it, and eventually in early 2000 thereabouts, we were able to get the definition of worker revised to include workers on contract as long as their contracts had.
But let me ask you something again. Sorry to interrupt you again. So hold on. When a permanent worker is working in a company, what, they're not on contract too? They don't have a contract?
Well, when we're talking contract in the context of the security guards, we're fixed term contract as against a contract of employment.
Let me tell you something, ma'am.
But that's what happened. That's what the industry did.
Yeah, they do what I call it. I call it intellectual dishonesty.
Well, it is. It is. And the truth is that, as I said, we were eventually able to get the law amended to properly define who is a worker, to include workers who are employed on short-term or fixed-term contracts. Because if the contracts were specific in terms of them being supervised, them having to come to work at specific times, those things would make that contract worker a worker for the purposes of the Labor Relations Act. But although we got that, successive administrations refused or were unwilling to use that definition to ensure that the security guards could, in fact, enjoy the protections of workers that the law provides.
And let me tell you something. The people of this country, I blame them too, I don't blame politicians. The people sit down. Nowadays, everybody get hot over the salary business. But when the security guards were being treated like, well, the dogs were treated better, I understand, because I understand if the dog has a problem, have to change the dog. But the security guard would just simply continue to work. We didn't say a word. And by the way, my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that government was the largest employer. I wouldn't say employer. They used quite a number of these security firms to do security work for them. So it means...
The last information we had is that government is in fact the largest employer of these security firms.
And therefore...
large contracts with them.
And therefore, those who have led us politically over the years, knowing fully well that out of the trade union movement came our political parties that are benefiting from that, who can now get proper salary, are the same ones who encouraged and sat down for years and allowed security guards to be treated like that. Oh no, should all be ashamed and pack your bags and go. And guess what? And by no matter which party, ma'am, the whole of them. No.
Well, this is what I'm saying, because it's successive administration.
Yes.
As I said, up to, I think, the late 80s, security guards were unionized.
Right.
Late 80s. But because the companies took this method of employing them as contractors And when you are employed as a contractor, as they say, you have to provide your own uniform. You pay for the uniform. You pay for whatever thing you're using. Eventually, what happened is that the government sought to get some protection in place by placing the security guards under the minimum wage machinery, and so that's why you have minimum wage.
Yes.
That is set for security guards, because since seeing that we're not unionized,
Right.
that was what was done to ensure that they
And I'm proud to
overly
tell you
abused.
that I made a presentation when they started with the minimum wage. I think her name was Miss Macpherson. I'm trying to remember her name. I'll never forget that when I was a student. I'm going to my bright self make presentation about minimum wage. Well, I'm going to go for the break, and that's why I have you here, because you're telling us quite a bit, Yeah, you need to give me a diploma when you're done,
Okay.
And the nation must be taught, and that is why come Tuesday, I'm asking everybody, go out and work here, go and enjoy yourself. But please remember that this country, the development of our system of political parties came out of the development of the trade union movement. It was built on the backs of the workers. And those who manage are now in the top echelons, and some of them are my schoolmates too. Please remember that years ago, if it wasn't for the trade union, it's like when you're black and tan already, you couldn't reach to the top. So please remember that you are there where you are because of the blood, sweat, and tears of some black people. Lord, you think I'm awful, ma'am? I'm just talking the truth. Because guess what?
The truth.
And a white man at pressure, we know, our own a color. Anyhow. Gonna go for the break. Miss Helene Davis, I'm gonna go for the break. Soon come back. Don't move.
You're tuned to Vernon Darby.
Welcome back.
You got me working.
Oh yes, welcome back. You're listening to Redeem FM, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. And of course, we have on the line Helene Davis Whyte, head of the Trade Union Confederation. Are you still here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Well,
Back here with you.
Oh Lord, you only have a minute and a half. You are the Prime Minister now, so you got to speak to the nation in a minute and a half.
So what you want now?
Up to you to say what you want to say. Your closing points.
Okay.
You have a minute and a half.
Just in regards to the whole celebration of Labor Day, that I would want to call on Jamaicans to, while they celebrate Labor Day come Tuesday of next week, that they remember what is the reason for the celebration, and that in fact what we are celebrating are the achievements of workers over the years, of unions over the years, in being able to give to workers their rights and also improved benefits at work and conditions of work as well. And in recognizing all of that has gone before, that we would call upon current modern day workers to recognize that the journey hasn't ended. Yes, we are celebrating, but what we are seeing coming are even more challenges ahead, with things like artificial intelligence and digitization. The whole world of work is changing, and we would want workers across Jamaica to recognize all of what is happening and recognize that we have to change how we operate in order to be able to
have to thank you at this point
that are coming.
Yes. And you're booked for next week again, ma'am. So I'm your boss. So don't tell me no. You're booked for next week, Friday. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Helene Davis Whyte, head of the Trade Union Confederation. Thank you very much, ma'am.